up, everyone? Kilosaurus Rex here, and there's two things you don't know about the Earth. One is me, and the other is Monster X. Wait, that's not the line at all. HIYA Toys Exquisite Basic Monster X is my first Toho kaiju that is not Godzilla. This is very important because of the film that Monster X is from. As you can see from the box, Monster X is a kaiju made exclusively for the film known as Godzilla Final Wars. And Godzilla Final Wars is one of, if not the most iconic film in the entire Godzilla universe, Toho, Warner Brothers, or otherwise. Godzilla Final Wars is probably the biggest Godzilla film that has ever been made. So far, at least. There are multiple reasons why it is so big, starting with the year of its release, the year 2004. Godzilla Final Wars was released in late 2004 as a capstone to the Millennium Godzilla series, as well as a celebration for Godzilla's 50th anniversary. Not only was this film a celebration, it was also the film that earned Godzilla a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Godzilla Final Wars celebrated Godzilla's anniversary by having him fight almost every kaiju from the original Toho franchise, as in the Showa-era Godzilla films. Godzilla Final Wars is basically the Godzilla movie equivalent to Avengers Endgame.
Is that everyone? But you wanted more?
But instead of an army of heroes facing off against one big bad universal villain, it's an army of villains facing off one big bad universal anti-hero. And he claps every single one of them by himself. Seriously, damn near every kaiju from the Showa era appears in Godzilla Final Wars. Anguirus, King Caesar, Gigan, Hedorah, Ebirah, Rodan, Kamacuras, Manda, Mothra, Kumonga, and even Manila! This film has every iconic Showa series kaiju minus Mechagodzilla. If you're a Godzilla fan, you more than definitely know about this movie. I myself have not only seen Godzilla Final Wars several times, but I also have a huge personal and damn near spiritual connection to this movie. I'll talk more about that when HIYA Toys releases the actual Godzilla figure meant for this movie. But for now, let's have a look at Godzilla's final and most powerful opponent in that entire film, Monster X. The most we get for this kaiju's origin is he was summoned by an alien race via a planet-sized meteorite sent as a final resort to defeat Godzilla himself. Monster X is most notable for being the most powerful kaiju in the film and for being the only kaiju strong enough to single-handedly give Godzilla a run for his money. Not only is he incredibly strong, he's agile, highly durable, highly skilled in physical combat, and possessing a secret super ability that allowed him to become one of Godzilla's greatest enemies of all time. Since that's a bit of a spoiler, we'll just talk about that later in the video. Let's go ahead and dive into the review of HIYA Toys' version of this iconic kaiju. Hi, Lily. You're interrupting. You're interrupting, Lily. You know what happens to kitties who interrupt my videos? I cook them into a casserole and I eat them. Casserole. Bye-bye. This figure first appeared as a gray prototype at the same time as Behemoth at the exact same Comic-Con. Just as well, this is the first kaiju from Godzilla Final Wars that they made a figure version of. With this figure being a complete and total shock to HIYA Toys customers, no one could have possibly foreseen what they would do next. The paint and detail on this figure is beautiful. Contrary to popular belief, Monster X is actually a living organism, not a biomech. The gray armored spots on Monster X are actually reminiscent of an exoskeleton. Essentially, he has a secondary skeleton that acts as his armor. HIYA Toys did an absolutely amazing job, especially on the armor. That's all they really had to do, isn't it? The rest of the figure is just pure black and a little bit of sculpting in detail, but we'll talk about that later. The color on the exoskeleton is amazing. It's got some dark white mixed in with a lot of gray, making it seem almost robotic, but rest assured, when you get the figure up close, you can see that there's some weathering and dry brushing that makes it so amazingly reminiscent of real aged and damaged bones. It also perfectly recreates the look of the actual suit in the film. As I've said in my GMK Godzilla figure review, the fact that there was a real suit made to portray the character means that it is possible to recreate not only the paint, but the detail can also be applied in a way that makes it look fully realistic. And HIYA Toys nailed it 100%. I love how the exoskeleton looks so amazingly weathered. Everywhere on Monster X, you can see the detail in the bones, that it's aged or battle damaged. So good! For the rest of the figure, there's not that much to talk about. As I already said, it's basically black. The rest of the detail is just sculpted in, except for the eyes. And the paint and detail for the eyes themselves, oh, beautiful! It's such an incredibly bright color of red that's also remarkably dull at the exact same time. It's almost a blood tone color of red for all 4 eyes. The color is applied so well to the eyes that all 4 of them look so alive. And yes, you heard me correctly, I said 4 eyes, which means that the eyes painted and sculpted into his shoulder armor are real eyes, which means, yes, these are real separate heads. I'll explain more why he has 2 separate shoulder heads in the sculpt and design, but I gotta finish up with the paint and detail by saying that the shoulder heads have got to be my favorite part of the entire figure when it comes to paint and detailing. Each shoulder head is designed completely differently. There is different detailing for both of them, and it's amazing. I love the half-broken skull look, and the detailing on them is beautiful. Each half skull has a different face sculpt and design, and the painting is so amazing for both of them. It's different, don't get me wrong, both skulls have a different level, but they are applied excellently. Both of them have completely different patterns for detailing, but they are both so good. They are excellently well done. I love the shading, I love the weathering, especially on the face sculpts for both of the half skulls. The difference between their designs and details is, oh, it is crystal clear, and it looks so good. They look aged, they look weathered, and the eyes, even with 2 completely separate eyes on his shoulders, they display so much evil. I love it. And yes, the center head has its own sculpt, design, and painting. While his main head wasn't my favorite part of the paint and detail, it certainly is no exception for paint and detail. It looks amazingly weathered. The eyes, they look so bright. They look so open. Not only does he look evil, he looks insane. It's so cool. In summary, all 3 heads have some excellent aging and weathering details applied to the paint, and it makes them look ancient and battle damaged. Oh, did I say 3 heads? Well, I guess I should probably explain now. Let's go ahead and put up a quick spoiler warning for what I'm about to say. If you're a Godzilla fan who hasn't seen Final Wars, seriously, what's wrong with you? It's not the best Godzilla movie, but boy, oh boy, is it fun. So much fun. The film is 2 hours of pure adrenaline. Amazing. Anyways, before we talk about the sculpt and design, I have to talk a little bit more about the design of Monster X himself. I'll put up a warning one more time because the spoilers begin right now. In the climax of Godzilla Final Wars, it is revealed that Monster X is only a secondary form of a much more powerful adversary. For the final fight against Godzilla, Monster X begins to evolve and transform into the most powerful life form in the universe, Kaiser Ghidorah, who is confirmed by Toho to be the most powerful Ghidorah that has ever lived. Not only is that extremely badass, but it also explains a few things. For starters, yes, the half skulls on Monster X's shoulders are in fact alive, and would continue to transform into the 2 additional King Ghidorah heads. As for the rest of Monster X's design in terms of the exoskeleton armor, it is actually meant to look like bones because essentially it is the skeleton of Kaiser Ghidorah. By the way, if you believe that this figure could transform into Kaiser Ghidorah in any way, shape, or form, yeah, let's have another look at that transformation in the film. Not even possible. But just because the transformation is impossible doesn't mean we won't be getting a Kaiser Ghidorah figure.
Oh yes.
Both Kaiser Ghidorah and Monster X were designed with very asymmetrical proportions, meaning that the left and right sides of their bodies are designed almost completely differently. This design aspect can somewhat be seen in the movie, but it's a lot more clear on the figure itself. But in terms of the overall design for Monster X, I love it! It is such a unique design. It looks like a Power Ranger got infected by the blood from Halo. With it being asymmetrical, no two pieces of armor on this figure are the same, except for maybe the chest. That's the only symmetrical piece of armor I can see. In fact, for me, it captures the design a little too well. That's not a bad thing, okay? That's not a bad thing about the figure. It's just a little difficult for me because, well, I have some extreme OCD, and because of my ADHD, my OCD peeves are just pushed to the absolute max. The fact that the left and right side of the figure each have their own design, it confuses the hell out of me. The arms, the chest, and the main head are pretty much symmetrical, but the waist, legs, oh, mama. Is there like a center part to the waistline at all? No, probably not. Oh my god, the armor plates on the legs. Maybe take some of the left kneecap armor and give it to the right kneecap. Oh, nope, there's a spike on that leg. Okay, sure. Well, the calves. Left leg has scattered bits of armor that look jumbled up in the front and kind of unorganized in the back. Then the right leg has some spiky-ish armor, and then the back is just all jumbled up like an artichoke. What the fuck? Again, not a negative, just a pet peeve. So I'm gonna ignore it. Anyways, it's perfectly sculpted, especially on the back. The giant spike in the center is rough, jagged, sculpted differently on every side. It's like this gigantic, crumbled up, almost crystallized rock formation. I love it. It looks so cool. There are some random spots of bones scattered all around the back and some extra armor spikes on the tail as well. By the way, the back skin of this figure is actually, it's actually really rough, really jagged, and I don't even know if that's accurate to the movie, but I really like it. Speaking of the skin sculpt, well, there's not really much to talk about. Is that skin? I don't know. The design for Monster X's skin is mostly a bunch of lines going in different directions, but the muscles are sculpted really well. The pecs, the abs, the arms, the thighs, and the calves. Ooh, this kaiju's got the muscle to show that he's been training with Jackie Chan. The absolute best part of the sculpt and detail for this figure is, once again, the heads. 3 words to describe these 3 heads: HIYA's best work. The head sculpt is so well done, I can't stop looking at it. The main head has some amazing armor and skull-like sculpting, and it's designed almost like a Queen Xenomorph head, just with an actual bone-in skull and some excellent design for the neck and bottom of the head. They even put some really great-looking armor pieces around the neck. That's so cool. The heads have some rough, jagged sculpting and actual nose and eye sockets for the heads, and the shoulder heads are just as amazing. The shoulder heads don't really have any skin texture, but they have plenty of the skull bone influence all throughout. I love the holes in the back of the skulls looking like more battle damage. And like I said before, each skull has a different design. And the front of the heads, there's some amazingly sculpted in teeth and horns. And the difference in head sculpts is almost perfectly reminiscent of the difference in head designs for Kaiser Ghidorah. And of course, the main head has his 2 signature spikes poking out of the top. His 2 horns at the top look absolutely awesome. And for durability, they are actually made of a soft rubber material. Unfortunately, that makes them kind of easy to bend out of shape too. When you're handling the figure, or sometimes when you get him straight out of the box, the horns might be a little bit bent. But fortunately, there's an easy way to fix it. Just use a heat gun or a hairdryer to loosen the material and make it easier to bend. Hold it in position for a few minutes and problem solved. Since they're a flexible rubber, the horns themselves are sharp, but not really that dangerous. However, the rest of the figure... Mother tr***ing Yeah, I can't cover the articulation and engineering without these. Be very careful when handling. All the armor is made out of a solid plastic material, and thanks to the sharp asymmetrical bone design, it can be dangerous in multiple areas, specifically around the back, the arms, the claws, and the start of the tail. With that in mind, I hope I can make it through the articulation and engineering without cutting my wrist open. Hinge joint at the mouth, which allows it to open. The teeth are sharp, but they're incredibly tiny, so not really that painful. The figure does have chin spikes that are definitely a piece of shit! By the way, check out how satisfyingly lined up the teeth are in the mouth. Oh my god. Ball joint at the base of the head, connected to 2 ball joints in the neck, which allows for an amazing range of head articulation. It looks up and down a lot, can do plenty of side to side. The shoulder heads are also on ball joints, so if those get in the way, you can position them in just about any way you'd like to get them out of the way. 2 ball joints in the torso allow some side to side with some ab crunch and rotating. Are the abs lined up to the center of the waist? I don't know. Hinge jointed shoulder that can rotate, not all the way around because of the shoulder skulls. Also, something a little unprecedented in a HIYA Toys figure, an extendable ball joint right underneath the shoulder. Both of the arms have this extendable joint at the bottom, so you can extend the shoulders for a little bit more range. I actually didn't think much of it at first, but after a while, it's proven to be very useful. Bicep can rotate, double bend at the elbow, ball joint in the wrist, and at the base of the hand, which can be removed and replaced with these alternate grabbing hands. These hands look awesome. Amazing sculpt, beautiful detail, especially for the palms, and that nice open grabbing claw look makes him look like he's 100% ready for a fight. Ball jointed legs can't rotate or move out all the way because the waist is sculpted over the top of the legs. Not really my favorite engineering choice, but you can work around it for a little bit more range. Rotating thigh joint, double bend at the knee. Ankles are a revolver joint, which means they can go up, down, and all around. A toe bend. And for the tail, 2 ball joints, which normally would be a dog shit excuse for a tail, but thankfully it's not just the 2 ball joints at work here. The rest of the tail is a nice, flexible, bendy wire. Excellent choice for Monster X, mostly because it allows for even more tail articulation than he had in the movie. And I honestly think his tail should have had more articulation in the movie. And check this out, even the forked part of the tails adds 2 more bendy wires. It's amazing. Oh, I love it so much. Posability on this figure is pretty decent. Not exactly hyper articulated, but he can definitely do a lot more than he was able to do in the movie. And thanks to the alternate hands, he's able to express a whole lot more than he did in the movie. Speaking of action from the movie, if you wanted to recreate certain poses of him being in the air, his final accessory is a figure stand. Very different from the last couple stands I've gotten from HIYA Toys. It's completely black, and it only really serves to hold Monster X in the air. It works pretty well to get him in the air, but I personally prefer using one of my stands. But if this single stand to get him in the air is good enough for you, then use it. Now, if you're as much of a Godzilla Final Wars fan as I am, you would already know that there is a accessory that is missing from this figure. Monster X's quadruple gravity beams, oddly enough, actually launch out of his eyes. As I've said before, any kaiju that fires a breath weapon without changing color automatically should come with said breath weapon. And since Monster X is lacking in gravity beam accessories, I have no choice but to say I'm actually not that mad about it. The reason I'm not upset by this is because Monster X barely uses his beam attack in the film, as opposed to Kaiser Ghidorah, who literally wipes the floor with Godzilla using his gravity beams. And with that being said, there's very little reason why Kaiser Ghidorah wouldn't automatically include gravity
Well done.
Actually, I'm kind of alright with that too. I'm looking like a hypocrite right now, aren't I? Just to be clear, this is the only Ghidorah figure that I will accept not having gravity beams. Because, look at what the gravity beams can do in the movie. You think we can recreate shots like this with 3 straight plastic rods? Hell no! But If HIYA Toys somehow figures it out and releases a battle version of Kaiser Ghidorah, well, I might just,
Hey, where'd you get that? You get that plant print?
Monster X mostly used his beams to attack Godzilla at a distance. The rest of the fight relied entirely on his strength, speed, and fighting tactics against Godzilla. And the scary part is, it almost worked. Even though this figure has no gravity beams, the high level of posability more than makes up for it. Monster X is a vicious hand-to-hand fighter, and the figure has more than enough articulation for intense fighting shots. This figure was basically made to be fighting other kaijus on camera. Specifically, the Godzilla from Final Wars. But that figure comes later, so for now, let's see how he looks next to the other figures I've got for the size comparisons. Here's HIYA Toys Godzilla, HIYA Toys Kong, my first review, HIYA Toys Shimo, my previous review, Creative Beast Studio 18th and 12th scale Smilodon, Dasani Water Bottle, Funko Pop 6-inch Godzilla Evolved, and Lego Avengers. I'd say 100% go for this figure if you're a kaiju battle fan. He was basically made for battle. I love posing this figure in fight stances. I've gotten a lot of shots of Monster X just fighting other kaiju, and he looks great in all of them. This figure looks so great in fighting stances that it actually got me thinking. Monster X and Kaiser Ghidorah are among some of Godzilla's most powerful adversaries. What if Monster X appeared in the Monsterverse? Godzilla Final Wars is equal to Avengers Endgame, so Monster X and the Monsterverse might be equivalent to maybe Avengers Doomsday? I can't say that for sure. Doomsday isn't even out yet. I'll tell you, the one kaiju that I want to see go up against Monster X is Godzilla Evolved. And since I put that idea in your head, I know for a fact you want to see Godzilla Evolved take on Monster X just as badly as I do. And if you check out my Patreon page, you can! I put together an entire comic book style fanfiction using my HIYA Toys action figures that basically throws Monster X into the Monsterverse and sets up for the arrival of the Kaiser Ghidorah figure. Visit my Patreon to see the full story inspired by the arrival of this figure and the release of the Avengers Doomsday trailer. As for the figure itself, 8 out of 10. Yes, the lack of gravity beams does take away from the movie accuracy, and there's some unfortunate limits with the articulation, but still, this Monster X figure is the best that I've seen. Realistically detailed, extremely articulated, and well worth the price. If you want to pose an epic kaiju battle on your shelf, this figure should be included. Go grab yours today at the Kokis Toy Store!
Oh, shit.
Okay, so it's kinda out of stock, but you can still be notified of when it's restocked. Visit my link in the description, click the notify me button, and Kokis Store will send you an email when the figure is back in store. You can also check with the Big Bad Toy Store because they don't get the HIYA Toys figures as fast as Kokis Store does, but they do still get the figures eventually. So as of this moment, it could be in stock on the Big Bad Toy Store website. You can check there if you like. If it's not at Big Bad Toy Store, then I recommend just waiting for Kokis Store to restock theirs. I have a feeling HIYA Toys is going to be doing some restocking in the coming months because, wow, they have a lot they plan to release. After the San Diego Comic-Con, there have been some leaked photos of boxes or figure promo pics for some of HIYA Toys figures, such as the box designs for HIYA Toys Scar King, Tiamat. There have also been some images of actual figures being released online, like the Godzilla Evolved Heat Ray version and the Light Up Godzilla Atomic Breath figure. Oh, daddy, please, let it be soon. Tiamat, Godzilla Evolved Heat Ray, and Light Up Godzilla unfortunately have not officially been confirmed, but one thing is certain, the HIYA Toys Uprising is far from over. Let me know in the comments what you think HIYA Toys is going to release next. And remember, use my link in the description to visit the Kokis Toy Store to pick up your Monster X figure when it's back in stock. Remember to see my Instagram for more Monster X photos. Check out my Patreon for comic stories, exclusive photos, past live streams, and more coming up. Leave a like to let me know you enjoyed the video. Comment if there are any figures you want me to look at, and subscribe to keep up with all of my latest updates. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you all later! on. Which version of Ghidorah does this guy transform into again? Ah, crap. I bought the wrong one.